Revelation 9. 4 angels have played their trumpets and destroyed some fraction of the planet and universe. 3 angels are ready to join in, because there's nothing conservative Christians love more than ruining things for everybody else. The 5th angel sounded his trumpet, and I saw a star that had fallen from the sky to the earth. The star was given the key to the shaft of the abyss. Stop. Wait. What? As I explained in the last chapter, stars cannot just fall to the earth. Stars are much bigger than the earth. But in this case, not only does the star make a landing, it gets a key to the abyss. Who is giving the star a key? How does the star accept the key? Does the star have hands now? And what the hell is the abyss? Why is it capitalized? You know that's a bad sign. And if it's the abyss with the capital A, why would we ever want to open it? Keep it closed. Throw away the key. It's been said that this star is an angel, and this angel is Satan. That would make this make a little more sense, but why not just say that? The imagery is not helping. When he opened the abyss, smoke rose from it like the smoke from a gigantic furnace. The sun and sky were darkened by the smoke from the abyss. Not the point here, but I just want to note that the star has a gender. It's a he. Conservative Christians don't think trans people exist, but the star has XY chromosomes and a phallus, damn it. Also, the sun has been darkened, even though we already knew a third of it was black, and also the entire thing went dark chapters ago, but everyone at the Bible factory has just forgotten that by now. And out of the smoke, locusts came down on the earth and were given power like that of scorpions of the earth. They were told not to harm the grass of the earth or any plant or tree, but only those people who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. They were not allowed to kill them, but only to torture them for 5 months. And the agony they suffered was like that of the sting of a scorpion when it strikes. During those days, people will seek death, but will not find it. They will long to die, but death will elude them. Well, that's specific. So a new plague of locusts has been called upon to torture all non-Christians for exactly 5 months. They can't kill us, but they can be extremely annoying, and will wish we were dead, but we are not allowed to die, which is also my review of every God's Not Dead movie. Or, if you want to put a positive spin on that, the plague of locusts just gave the people immortality for 5 months. You could do anything you want and not die. These people should go bungee jumping or free soloing. Nothing less. Take the risk. You might be wondering, why were they told not to harm the grass? In chapter 8, weren't we told all the green grass was burned up? See, this is what happens when writers don't care about continuity. Keep in mind, locusts would normally love eating grass and vegetation. It's God who's telling them to avoid this and just torture the atheists and Muslims and everyone else who isn't branded on their foreheads. God's the bad guy here. Why 5 months? Because that is the typical lifespan of a locust. You might think this has no modern parallel, but there are Christians who equate this with drones or military helicopters that have human pilots because they're just like locusts, and they can shoot fire. We are not done talking about the evil locusts, by the way, because they are only the first of what we shall call the 3 woes. The locusts looked like horses prepared for battle. On their heads they wore something like crowns of gold, and their faces resembled human faces. Their hair was like women's hair, and their teeth were like lions' teeth. They had breastplates like breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was like the thundering of many horses and chariots rushing into battle. They had tails with stingers like scorpions, and in their tails they had power to torment people for 5 months. They had as king over them the angel of the abyss, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek is Apollyon, that is, destroyer. What the hell? Okay, These locusts had tiny crowns and human faces, and seductive womanly hair, and fierce lion teeth, and a suit of armor, and tails with stingers. First of all, who's making them these costumes? How did they get the equipment on? Why are we still calling them locusts when they clearly do not resemble locusts? And what is going on in this genome? Who is sleeping with the locusts to create human face locusts? That's implied bestiality right there. They have a king too, the Angel of the Abyss, who has multiple names. And the angel will destroy us after 5 months, I guess. The first woe is past. The other woes are yet to come. 5 months of torture wasn't enough. It gets worse. It gets worse is also the tagline for the Bible. The sixth angel sounded his trumpet, and I heard a voice coming from the 4 horns of the golden altar that is before God. It said to the sixth angel who had the trumpet, "Release the 4 angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates." And the 4 angels who had been kept ready for this very hour and day and month and year were released to kill 1/3 of mankind. The number of the mounted troops was twice 10,000 times 10,000. I heard their number. This book has just turned into Squid Game. They kill you off, but in giant groups, and you're killed by angels, which really makes you rethink how nice angels are. Because these angels have armies of 200 million people with horses, which is way more people and horses than existed at the time. It's also larger than any army in the world today. But Johnny the narrator just falls for it anyway, because he heard all 200 million people and horses. I guess he just did his own research. Where do you find an army of that size? It can't be a volunteer army. You know they were all forced to do this against their will, or else it was an evil angel army. Because why not? As a writer, angels are more flexible. They can do anything you want them to do to advance the narrative. The horses and riders I saw in my vision looked like this. Their breastplates were fiery red, dark blue, and yellow as sulfur. The heads of the horses resembled the heads of lions, and out of their mouths came fire, smoke, and sulfur. 1/3 of mankind was killed by the 3 plagues of fire, smoke, and sulfur that came out of their mouths. The power of the horses was in their mouths and in their tails, for their tails were like snakes, having heads with which they inflict injury. Oh, buddy, we know this is a vision. You are on some of the strongest stuff we've ever seen. If the horses have heads of lions, and tails like snakes, and mouths like dragons, why are we still calling them horses? And who knew there was still 1/3 of humanity left to murder? I thought we were done. Whoops. As for a more recent connection, there are Christians who say this is a reference to modern tanks. And if you think that's a stretch, well, yeah, it's the Bible. At some point, every modern connection is a stretch. Okay, let's do some quick math here. When the seals were being opened in Revelation 6, we were told 1/4 of mankind was killed off. Now, 1/3 of mankind is killed off. Is that 1/3 of the original, or 1/3 of the ones who were still around? Because if it's 1/3 of the remaining 75%, then only 50% of the population is still left. If it's 1/3 of the original number, then we are down to about 42% of the population. The evil angel army is very deadly, is my point. They can kill with their dragon mouths and their snake tails. At this point, if you are still alive, you have to be thinking, oh God, I need to repent quickly. Or, I need to destroy God, like right now. The rest of mankind who were not killed by these plagues still did not repent of the work of their hands. They did not stop worshiping demons and idols of gold, silver, bronze, stone, and wood, idols that cannot see or hear or walk. Nor did they repent of their murders, their magic arts, their sexual immorality, or their thefts. To be fair, if I survived all of this, I would feel pretty damn invincible. Why convert Whatever I'm doing right now seems to be working pretty well. Bring on the demons and idols and orgies. The locusts and angels and trumpets got nothing on me. And why should they repent of their murders? Clearly, God is okay with murders. That's all he's been doing this whole time. Did you notice that we still haven't sounded the seventh trumpet? What more is there left to do? It is appalling that this is what fundamentalist Christians are longing for. A world where they get to worship God and everyone else suffers, in stages, at the hands of enemies that only exist on paper, courtesy of a 3-year-old with an overactive imagination.